working or are we not working? Good morning, everybody. No, we don't want that. I just hit a refresh. Come on. No. Oh, yeah, there it is. That's it. That's real interesting. So that's not working anymore, or I did something wrong. Okay, I can live with that. So, and the topic. There goes the announcement. Wow, is that slow today? Holy cow. That's going to be some issues for a bunch of people. Wonder what they've done this weekend to get everything slowed down. Took almost a minute for the announcement to go out to everybody. That's interesting. So, how does your garden grow? Now, I visit a lot of streams, both as Ron Eitzel and as the Green Wizard. And a lot of you know I try not to come into your streams as the Green Wizard and instantly start pushing the book and instantly get into this, that, or the other, because YouTube's not about that. It's about having social fun and being out with your friends and hanging out. And I ran into a couple of streams over the last few days talking about plans for amending the soil and making some changes and doing some different things. And you know, I sit there kind of confused. Uh, I thought I was helping people. I thought I was explaining things. Um, guess not. I guess not. Um, yes, you need amendments in the soil. I'm not saying you don't. People are misunderstanding how the garden actually grows. It would be like having the idea that, well, I'm gonna build a garden in my backyard or my front yard or what have you, and I'm gonna do all this work and I'm gonna do everything right. I'm gonna follow all the guidelines and I'm gonna listen to everybody out there and I'm gonna do all the right things. And I'm expecting to have great crops and this, that, and the other, and then not put any seeds in it for the crops you want. The Green Wizard's Guide's got all the information for every aspect of your yard and your garden. Yet, people are misunderstanding. You know, they're misunderstanding the seeds, or they're misunderstanding the principles involved here. You know, and they're sitting back questioning themselves. Okay, well, I'm going to plant this garden, and then come midsummer, nothing's coming up except a bunch of weeds, and they didn't put any seeds in. And I'm using that as an analogy. I'm not saying that that's what they're doing, and I'm not pointing at any specific channel at all. I just want people, and good morning, 320. I just want people to stop for a moment and think. And yeah, I am going to ask the question, and because I expect an update. You hadn't said anything yesterday. You know, I understand he's in Oklahoma, but you paid somebody to hit him in the face with that, you know, but that, you know, we'll get into that anyhow. Um, maybe I miswrote the book. Maybe I should have put the book or started the book out asking the question, how does your yard and garden grow? Because people are tending to show that there's a misunderstanding of how the science of yard work and the science of gardening and the science of plant growth are misunderstood. Okay? Just misunderstood. Not because I'm not saying my way is right or wrong. I'm saying that your understanding can be different, get you off the NPK system, which we're seeing again and again and again is making everybody sicker. You know, there's a bunch of mammals on this planet, and we're the sickest that there are. We're the supposedly the smartest on the planet, yet, you know, out of 5,700 mammals known on the planet, we have the most cancer, the most diabetes, the most obesity, the most, you know, failing everything, failing eyesight, failing this, failing that, everything's failing. You know, and people want to sit back and go, well, why? Well, it's the food. It's what we're intaking. You know, we've got foods in the grocery shelves that weren't available 20 years ago that are chemically made. That's not good for us. You know, I showed in another video, not on this channel, so don't look for it. It's not here, it's on the other channel, where the human body was not necessarily designed to be a meat eating organism. We can create meat getting around the meat factor. We can actually create stronger muscle mass in the human body by eliminating the in between factor and ingesting the same foods ourselves that our cattle, our deer, on and on and on eat. Hey, welcome, very expensive. You must, yeah, you're new to the channel. Welcome, welcome. I don't recognize the name. Um, but in the video, they show all the scientific gobbledygook junk, what have you, that sustains the idea that we should back away from. Hey, good morning, Gemma. We should back away from the GMO foods. We should back away from eating meats. We should back away from and go with what the body is designed for. And they give plenty of scientific reason why. Now, I'm not a diet proponent, because the first three letters of diet tell you exactly what you're doing to yourself when you do this crash stuff. Don't change your eating habits, put in a little bit better stuff, but don't diet per se. Just like this huge misunderstanding of we have to have calcium supplements because, oh my God, the bone mass, oh my God, this, oh my God, no. You have to understand, we're a lazy society that has fallen under this misbelief that massive doses of calcium are going to make our bones stronger. No, no. What makes our bones stronger is using the bones. I know, that just sounded really confusing, right? All right, all right. Let's theory for just a second. Just astronauts who are extremely healthy, and go into space and immediately start losing bone mass and muscle mass. And the longer they're up there, the worse it gets. To the point that when they get back on the planet in the gravity well, they can't walk. They literally have to be, hospitalized and retrained. All this. So they're doing exercise programs in space, trying to use rubber bands and springs and what have you to try and simulate gravity so that they can hold their muscle mass. So why do we spend 50 to 60% of our time sitting on a couch, sitting in a chair? When you sit down and you don't exercise the muscles, just like your brain, if you don't think, your brain stops functioning correctly. When you eat a bunch of crayons and you drink a bunch of alcohol and your brain shuts off, your brain doesn't work right. That's why drinking and driving works so well together, right? Okay. So there's been this huge push, this huge misunderstanding about taking calcium supplements. What we actually need is the vitamin D, okay? Not everything else in the calcium. Okay? It's just a slight misunderstanding here, and I'm going to catch up with Chad here in a second. But so with that kind of thought process going through your head real quick, how does your garden grow? That's the whole point of today's BS, what have you, other than the fact that there was nobody out there today. And I thought, well, I might as well turn on and see who's out there. And plants becoming dangerous to man. No, no, no. Oh, okay. I see. Okay, now that I'm catching up with, I need to scroll back just a second to catch up on 320's husband. He was injured really badly at work. Yeah, I saw that. But I had already started the process because he was just late, and I'm. Uh, hey, Robert, what's going on, buddy? I'm going to scroll back for just a second, so don't. I want to check on 320's husband. He was in a really bad accident. She paid somebody to hit him in the face with something, and he survived it or something. No permanent damage. Ooh, wow. Well, 320. I think you need to just hire a better hitman or something. I don't know. I'm sure the life insurance policy was paid up, and I get it. And, it's okay. I understand. Oh, that's just what her husband needs to hear, right? She put a hit out on him. He thinks he was in an accident at work. No, it was that multi-million-dollar life insurance policy he doesn't know about. Um, Yeah, maybe he knows too much about the Clintons, and I didn't say that. No, wasn't me. No, 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 wasn't me. No. Oh, anyhow. So okay, you were asking biblically, and why are thorns there? And certain plants do different things, just like certain mammals and certain animals have developed certain things as defensive. Okay, porcupines, for example. You said thorns. I'm just going to go there. So porcupines, for example. Here's an animal that's probably extremely tasty. Hey, Horseman's in house. What's going on, buddy? Uh, so yeah, porcupines are probably really tasty. Nobody's really sure because nobody wants to get close enough to find out. Regardless, that's what plants do. They have these natural defenses um, to protect themselves so that they can grow to fruition and produce the fruits and what have you that we all are trying to get our hands on. So the plant puts out these thorns and what have you, and we just have to be smart enough not to get stuck by the thorn. Da, 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 da. But the point of all of this is people's understanding. If you started from the beginning and you've stayed with me the whole time as I've meandered here, uh, yes, the human body can consume meat. Yes, there's a specific organ that the doctors just love to go in and rip out of your body because it's underdeveloped and underused. Hey, light and love. Good morning, dear. Uh, uh, if you begin hunting early enough and you have freaky cousins like I had, and you eat the heart of the kill fresh, and you're young enough, the organ is there and will deal with the raw meat. Okay, I don't want to get into the California. Oh my God, don't talk meat. Oh my God, I don't want to get into all that. Every organism is designed certain ways to do certain things to reach its maximum capacity and reach its ability. Homesteaders, gardeners, everything in between. We all need maximum health. And of 5,700 mammals on the planet, we're the sickest. Why? Well, because a guy in a white coat said the NPK process is the right way to go. And since then, we've been getting sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker. Just look at the dates. I don't even need to prove anything. Look at when we started getting the highest amount of cancer, the highest amount of diabetes, the highest amount of laziness, the highest amount of this, that, the other. Okay. People want to talk about, well, and somebody's entered the room, and I'm not going to point it out, but they want to talk about depression and issues. And I keep raising my hands because I'm surrendering to this because it's just part of where I'm going. The food is so bad, our bodies can't even deal with the circumstances that we deal with on a daily basis. And a lot of us, including myself, have so many voices in our heads because we can't keep a common thought or train of thought going because we're so messed up with everything else that's going on in our environment. Cell phone radiation, routers, wireless, every single running motor on our planet, it puts out a radiation factor and it affects all of us. And it messes with our head and it messes with our health. With as complex as the mammal organism is, we're the only ones on the planet suffering. All the rest of these other mammals have adapted. They don't go change their environment. We're going to make it better. They adapt to the environment. Why is it we're the only ones that can't adapt to the environment and use it nature's way, which is the whole point of the Green Wizard's Guide, and get things right the first time, the way it was meant to be? I'm not saying I've invented anything new and come up with this whole new theory of how to garden or how to take care of your yard or how to. It's an understanding. So many people, like I started the video out, I visited a lot of channels this past week, and they're all talking about amending their garden and this, that, and the other, and the plants don't go get minerals. There's another organism in between the dirt and the plant root that brings the minerals back to make the plant healthy. And everybody has forgotten this. Everybody has overlooked it. Because if they can't see it, it must not exist. Because, like, none of us have ever gotten the common cold or the flu because we can't see it. It doesn't exist, right? Yeah, I want you to think of it on that level, because it is a microscopic world that we're attempting to take care of. We don't need to amend the soil. We need to feed that little bit of organism between the roots and the dirt. And the more we feed that, the more topsoil we get. If we add more amendments and we add compost and we add and we add and we add, we get better and better and better. The deeper the topsoil, the more active the microbial life, the more active the worms are, the easier it is for the plant to root itself to support its weight, its size, its color, its everything. You cannot have a 10-foot tall plant in a half-inch of soil. Try it. I dare you. Put a half-inch of soil on a cement slab. Okay? Go get the best miracle grow, blah, 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 and try and grow corn on a half-inch of topsoil. Good luck. Because that's what you're doing in your garden and not knowing it when you're using the NPK system, because of how much clay is underneath. And you got to get the understanding there's another life form in between the two, and all winter long we need to sustain that. All winter long we need to protect that. We need to cover our gardens. We need to have this understanding. You know, I've got that other channel who's not here right, might be not here right now, a good friend of Horseman's and mine, that they treated the yard. The yard is incredible. It's not brown like it normally is in the winter. I was going to point that out during the show, but hey, Lisa, good morning, sweetheart. There's my next door neighbor. Hope you guys are doing well. You've got to have the understanding. You got to let your garden grow, because it's maybe I did explain it wrong. A garden isn't what you grow in it. A garden is the soil supporting what you would like to grow in it. That's a garden. And if you're not sustaining the soils correctly in that hidden world that you can't see, you're going to have problems in your garden. It's a simple thing to do, to sustain that and to protect that and to blanket that and to make it healthy. Just like taking care of the human body is a very simple organism. If 5,700 other mammals on this planet can do exactly what they're doing and not have the issues we have, and not have the educations, and not have the college degrees, and not have all the chemicals and all the, pharmacy, gotta get the food thought. Oh my God. Okay. If 5,700 other animals, or 999 other animals, mammals on this planet can survive and not have the issues we have, and three of those, including ourselves, three of those 5,700 mammals on this planet can't produce vitamin C naturally and get cancer. Anyone starting to do these numbers? Anyone starting to? Because the whole point of this was to make you think. God forbid, we'd be thinking no crayon. Okay, a little harsh for some of you this early in the morning. I get it. I'm sorry. I won't continue on too long. But there's a better way when you have a better understanding. If you understand it and you carry it over into your health, being as healthy as you can, getting back to bushcrafting, getting back to gardening, getting back to homesteading, getting back to back is very, very simple. And I understand it's hard for some people to read a book. It's hard for people to understand basic texts on things. But there are some things college professors can't teach you. The reason they're a college professor is because they can't actually do it in real life, or they'd be making real money doing that in real life and not teaching you, because they'd be. Any of this making any sense? Yes, no, maybe. I know that probably hurt a lot of you. College professors teach because they can't do it in real life, but their way's the only way, because they're educated. We're the 23rd dumbest group on the planet in the United States because our education system is so superior. Yeah. Anyhow, anyhow, how does your garden grow? Give yourself a different concept. Come at it from a different direction. Stop thinking about, oh my God, my garden, my garden, my garden, and then you don't put any seeds in the garden. You're expecting to see tomato plants, but you didn't put any tomato seeds in it. All you got is weeds because you didn't. And the clay is so close because you didn't. I know, Jim. I know. I'll stop. It's people have this lack of understanding, and sometimes when an idiot like myself who hasn't had crayons and isn't drinking alcohol sits down and explains it a slightly different way, sometimes in people's minds the information clicks, okay, and you figure it out for yourself, which is the whole point of the Green Wizard's Guide. It's to give you the amount of information in a very basic way to make you rethink how your yard works, to make you rethink and have a different understanding and get away from what the guys in the white coats had to say about food. When we start to fix the food, our brains function differently. Our worlds function differently. It's almost like, and I'm gonna pick on Light and Love here because I know she just walked back in the room. Welcome back. A lot of people say that when life gets really, really, really stressful, the best thing you could do, the easiest thing you can do, is plant a garden, because you get back to nature, you get back to this comfort level, and you forget the outside world and what have you. The really cool thing is, if you start to eat those foods from that garden that's growing naturally, not on the NPK system, not on the big box store chemicals, your body actually goes through physical changes. It's really, really cool. It's really cool. You start to get healthy. You know, a lot of people want to say, I need to take a diet so that I can lose some weight, so that I can go exercise, so that I can. Well, wait a minute. You know, when you get up out of bed in the morning and you walk in for, you just exercised because you walked to the bathroom, you walked to the kitchen to get a cup of coffee. That's exercise. I know it's frightening, right? It's just an understanding. It's how you perceive things. You know, there's so many diseases today, and there's so many issues. Uh, oh, absolutely, 320. No, professors don't get paid more. Redneck the fam is in the house. What's going on, my brother? Uh, 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 um, ketogenics. All right, let's because this is the Green Wizards Guide channel, and if I go into this, and I will, I'm not going to leave this video up for more than a day because I don't. This is supposed to be about the book and barf all over you, right? You guys tell me if five of you, 4 or 5 of you want to hear about ketogenics, we'll go into ketogenics. Um, you tell me yes, no. If I get 4 or 5 yeses, I'll talk about it. Otherwise, I kind of that's for the other channel more so. Um, God, my head just went 1,000 miles an hour the opposite direction. Um, wow. Uh, all right, all right. And a bunch of people just bailed because they heard diet stuff, and I understand. Look, and I'm gonna hammer a bunch of you, and I'm gonna let loose on a couple of you, and you're gonna think I'm talking personal, and I'm not. I'm not. Okay. If there's I got to do the political correctness. Look, I'm not a doctor. This is my opinion. This is just that blah 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 blah. Copyright blah blah blah. Look, look. There are 5,000, again, 5,700 mammals on this planet, and we're the only ones that need to do dieting. We're the only ones. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Our body's circumstances are direct result of bad food. All of us. The idea, hold on. I know some of you are going to just want to beat me over the head with a 2x4 for this, but the idea that all of these diseases are hereditary is incorrect. It's dietary. When you put yourself in a microwave and you turn it on, because there's moisture inside us, we're going to pop, right? Just like popcorn, right? When you eat what your family has eaten for 5 or 6 generations, You're all going to suffer the same stuff. Here's prove it to yourself. Twins separated at birth because they're adopted out. Twins, absolute identical twins. And I'm a twin, so I've experienced this. I've met the people. I go to Twins Day in Twinsburg, Ohio. Blah 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 blah, blah barf. Under totally different circumstances, one grows up in the country, one grows up in the city. The one in the city is the sickest of the two. They look identical. One's obese, one's not. Okay. Mental things, well, okay. The people that are in the cities that are near all this radiation, that are near all this concentration of stuff, that are in stressful lives, they tend to suffer more so mentally than the one in the country. Now, all of you can agree that when you go out in the country and you sit peacefully by a brook, what have you, you kind of, all of this is circumstantial to our diets, our living conditions, our when you've got a grumpy neighbor on one side of you and then you've got a Bible thumper on the other side of you and you're sitting in the middle, your head's ready to pop. That's your microwave. But when your neighbor's a half a mile away on one side and a half mile away on the other side and you don't hear from them every day, life is good, right? When you start eating wholesome, good, homegrown, healthy foods from healthy, rich soils the way God meant it to be, you get healthier. Mental conditions go away. Dietary conditions go away. Dietary needs go away. So going into keto, when the elephants and the whales start going on keto diets, maybe I'll believe in them. What I do believe is if you get better food, you get better. I know some of us have to force ourselves to get up off the couch and go get a cup of coffee and get that exercise between point A to point B. I understand that. It's a matter of what you're eating. I saw this hilarious video the other day, and I know I shouldn't, but there's this lady in a store on one of these power wheelchairs going in to go shopping, what have you. She waddled in, jumped immediately in this power chair, went in to do all her grocery shopping. When she come back out from grocery shopping, she had all this garbage in the grocery cart, but she couldn't get out the door in the wheelchair because she's too wide. And you look at what's in the grocery cart and you can see why. All this excessive, chemically enhanced food, chips and garbage, just garbage, pops and garbage in her grocery cart. I'm not saying keto's wrong. All I'm saying is the food is, and even on a keto diet, if you're eating the wrong food that is genetically made, that's chemically made, that's chemically enhanced, you're still going to be just as sick. A better understanding of the human body and how it functions, and understanding that the thyroid is a direct controller of the brain, direct controller of DNA, direct everything. When you eat good foods, real wholesome foods, grown in your own yard, you're going to be healthier. You're going to have a better mindset. Everything else is going to click. Keep the neighbor a little further away next time. And some of the issues don't bother you. Hey, Mr. Can. Happy New Year's to you. Nice to see you, dear. Oh. No. No. Gemma, no. I'm not. No. I'm saying that they are a direct effect of bad food. I am not saying that by taking them, you're going to solve anything. No, 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 no. Everybody's different. I'm not a doctor. You can't, my opinion, because of so much bad food, because of the damage done to the soils. If we fix the soils and we fix the food, we start to fix ourselves. If 5,999 other mammals on this planet are healthier than we are, and we're the smartest ones on the planet, do you think somebody did something wrong? That's what I'm saying. Oh my God, Pecan. I know he would disagree. I get it. Hey, Chef and more. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. Guys, you want to talk about somebody? There's a cook. There's a cook for you. Most of her live streams lately haven't been about cooking, though, so I'm really, really upset. But that's on her. She won't even take me shopping at the dollar store. So, of course, I got issues. The brain, I really don't want to. I don't want to fix the thyroid. Let's start there. Let's start there. Let's start at the beginning of what our health actually works on. Let's start at the thyroid. Let's start at the beginning. If we start at the beginning and work our way up or work our way down, because you start with the intake and then you go with the out. So yeah, just start at the beginning. Fix the thyroid. If we start at the thyroid, a lot of other things start to make sense, and a lot of other things come around. Well, right. I mean, oh my God. And look, here I am with one of these cancer sticks, and I get it. I stress and oh my God, it can do so many bad things. And I am not trying to dismiss any of that stuff. Just stressful conditions can make you sick and make things 10 times worse. Just stressful conditions. I understand that. Oh my God, do I understand that? How much so can I put it to you? All right, you want stress? I know I shouldn't. But because I was kind of accused of being one of those trollers just looking for money. Not that I'm trying to get a message across or not trying to do any, whatever. 5 years of my life, God haunting me to get this book out and get it in a way that everybody could understand. I'm now sitting on, brace yourself, $16,000 in credit card debt that I can't pay because the book's not selling. That's what it cost me to put this book together for you guys. But God weighed on me, put it out there, and made me do this. It was like every morning I would wake up and every night I would go to bed, and all day long, nothing but the book rang in my head. Okay. God put it on me to get this book out this way. Granted, I could not say some stuff in there because of political correctness, but so I'm $16,000 in debt, and it's not improving, and it's not going away, and it's not. I understand stress. Believe me, I understand stress. I get it. You get those bills every month, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Hey, there's my troll. Good morning, Miss JCD. Wait, what? Nana accused me of what lately? Man, I've never said nothing but nice stuff about this lady and left her alone. Whatever. Whatever. I guess I'm the one that brings your channel down because content is terrible. Yeah, that's my fault. Because I'm the one that makes her choose what she's doing. Okay. Oh, I'll bet it is, JCT. I haven't photographed mine. I know mine's doing really well. You're going to be happy with it, and like I said, I think I told you this. If I didn't, all of you make note right now, whether you have a copy of the book to put it in or not. Everywhere you're growing stuff, and you want to make sure you're growing safely, grow sunflowers. Throw them away. Throw the seeds away after the first year. Okay, that first year's plants, that first year's seeds, throw them away. Sunflowers have this incredible way of filtering out heavy metals that are toxic to us and other toxic things out of the soil, including man-made gunpowder. Yeah, I know. If you're going to be planting a garden or you have an existing garden and you've been using the NPK system, grow sunflowers. Yeah, you can grow some other things because as the sunflowers grow and as the vegetative life roots and what's going on in the soil and all that, they're going to go out and they're going to bring back exactly what the plant's asking for, including all of these toxic things. They neutralize it. They stop them. So don't compost your first year's sunflowers, but they will clean the soil. I'm going to hesitate there because as your soil improves, as your soil gets deeper, as things get stronger, okay, you're going to want to repeat that method of letting sunflowers go and throwing them away. Don't disturb the roots, as always. Never disturb roots. Just clip this everything off and plant next year. Okay. What I'm saying is, every couple of years, you're going to want to do a sunflower growth in a bed to clean out, because as you get less and less clay and more topsoil, okay, you're going to be exposing some of these heavy metals again, and you don't want them accidentally getting drawn into any of your plants and then you ingesting them. I mean, that's why we do detoxing, because we inevitably, through the chemical foods, the high energy drinks, all the way out into tap water, we're ingesting heavy metals. We need to detox. You know, there was a study done. I should be on the other channel. There was a study done about brain conditions and heavy metal conditions. And it was found that a lot of brain conditions are caused by the ingestion of heavy metal toxins. Quoting toxin, okay? There are heavy metals on the periodic table we do not want, like mercury. They're deadly, deadly, deadly. But mercury will cause all sorts of these weird, funky diseases and mental illness, okay? So stopping at that point, I'm not going to go any further with that. Detoxing the soil as well as the human body improves things, okay? I'm trying to be so politically correct instead of just coming straight out and saying stuff. And I appreciate all of you sticking with me here. And I hope you all understanding it. And I hope I'm saying it the right way so that you understand. Treat your garden like you would treat yourself. You got to detox. As you get more and more soil, as you get more and more topsoil, because the topsoil's in your yard, first and foremost. It has just been compacted and covered in chemicals in such a way that it has become clay. As you start improving your soils, the clay will open back up and become soil and become topsoil once again. Topsoil can be 40, 50 feet deep. Scientific studies have proven it. When you leave them alone and you do it naturally. My way just increases that. Miss Sherrie K, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Ah, all that being said, now, I'm going to make an invitation here to Miss Sherrie K, if she's up for it, because I know it's early. People were asking me about keto. I'm not comfortable with it yet. I haven't done enough research in it yet. And Miss Sherrie K, who's just walked into the channel, has. So if she wants to come up on a panel, I'll shut down the music and she can answer your keto questions. Because I can't. I'm not qualified enough. I don't have enough information. I can go get the information, but it's probably going to take me 6 weeks to get it all together. Because there's so much going on in the keto world, I don't understand. I'm sorry, I'm 130, 40 pounds. I'm not qualified. I'm sorry, I'm not qualified. But Sherrie, if you want to come up, I'll put the link up. You can come on in. I'm just not qualified, guys. I'm not qualified to talk keto. I'm not. I don't claim to be. I mean, I'm not. I'm seeing some bad stuff, but on the other hand, I'm seeing good stuff about it. Again, I'm going to fall back on the same condition of, when you have 5,700 mammals on the planet and we're the only ones that diet. And we're the sickest ones on the planet. You kind of answer your own question. It's what you're intaking. And it's so bad in the grocery stores. The food is so bad. We're all sick. It's kind of like a catch-22 here. Well, it's, my thing is, if you're into one, be careful of the other, because if you start crossing a bunch of different diets all at the same time, you could actually make yourself sicker. I don't understand enough about keto. My opinion is, there are certain things in our foods that we need to avoid. If you ask me, you need to avoid grocery stores, period, and grow your own. That's my opinion, because the stuff is so bad. And the easiest way to point at it is look how many hospitals we now have around this country. And look how sick everybody is. Look how many people are constantly running to their doctor for prescriptions for this, for that, for the other. And yet they're still going to the grocery store and continuing to eat the same stuff they were eating that made them that sick to begin with. I don't think it's the diet. I think it's the actual food we're consuming that's the issue. I mean, if I were to, I know Bible thumpers, get it out, get ready to hit me. Go ahead, get ready, because I'm going to say it. If we all sexercised more, yes, I said that word, we'd all be happier and we'd all be healthier. And the cravings that you get before, during, and after when you're looking for that thamus, you're going to eat the right foods, because your body's going to tell you exactly what you need. You're going to be craving a specific, whether it be a meat, a fish, or this, or that. Okay? Exercise more and you'll all be better. Uh-oh. Now she asks for the link. Here comes the Bible. She's going to beat me, everybody. Watch this. Here it comes. I deserve it. I said it. I deserve it. I know. Oh. Oh. No, I know. I opened Pandora's box here. I get it. Oh, my God. I shouldn't have done it. I'm sorry. Oh, my God. I had to. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know, we're all so grumpy. We're all so stressed out. We're all so this. We're all so that. De-stress, heart healthy, physical limitation. Good.
One crazy, Ron. One crazy guy. Oh my God! You and your boobs. You need to leave them alone.
Scientific studies have shown if you hold a set of boobs 20 seconds a day, you will live 5 years longer.
All right. Well, then I should be like 10,000 years old by the time I die because I hold mine for at least 5 minutes a day.
Well, that's awesome. See, maybe you need to hold somebody else's.
Oh yeah.
That's my opinion, because if I had a set, I'd never leave the house, but that's just me.
That's crazy.
Oh,
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
there you go, JCT. Put your want ad up. Yep. Need a exercise partner to stay healthy. De-stress, exercises the heart, exercises the hips, exercises. Oh.
No, you're right. A good sexual life does make you live longer.
Well, I mean, it just distresses and it feeds the soul. And that may not, that may be a touchy subject here, but because then we're going into religion, and I don't want to go into religion, but getting a hug from somebody does something for you. When you get that kind of a hug, wow, does it really communicate with the soul?
Okay, now you're talking about a hug.
Well, I'm talking about a little bit more than a hug, but that would be behind a closed door, and we'll just,
Hold on. Okay, I was watching what I was saying because I had a little child out here.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, and I've been trying to.
He's gone, so now I'm open to talk. There you go. So, you think sex makes you live longer, huh?
Absolutely.
You're absolutely right about that. Proven facts, actually. Wait a minute, I got a couple guys here that want to be on YouTube. Maybe they can explain to you about sex. They're jumping in on this conversation.
Hey, I'm just,
Oh my God, these guys are funny.
see, and there's Gemma, and she's into the mental health issues and what have you. And yeah, a good, deep, soul enjoying, encompassing hug is very good for you. It touches you in the soul and the rest of your body, and the endorphin release. And yeah, absolutely. Keeping in mind that it's early on a Saturday morning, there could be kids in the room. That you're not welcome. Anyone under 13, please leave. You're not welcome.
Yeah. There's no one here, so except for a couple of adults that like the conversation of sex. That's awesome.
Hey, if you're gonna grow your garden well, feed it too.
Well, you got to plant your seeds and make those trees grow.
Absolutely.
Yep. And there's one over here that has 7 kids, so he should know all about that.
I'll bet he's the happiest one of the bunch.
Yeah, he is. He's a very
There you
happy
go.
man.
There you
Very
go.
happy man.
See, there you go. There's proof. Proof positive. It's not a theory. Proof positive. Yeah, yeah, look, half the women left. Sorry, ladies.
Sorry about that, guys.
Uh,
Ron likes his boobs. You know, he can't
Love
stop talking about them.
love boobs. So keto. Keto, they asked, and I don't know enough.
I can answer any question that I know about keto, which is pretty much a lot. So I've done everything from dirty keto to regular keto to intermittent fasting to prolonged fasting.
DJ
So,
Baker, welcome, welcome, welcome.
so how you been anyways, Ron?
Oh, okay.
Doing good?
Yeah.
For the most part?
Yeah. I know I'm not doing well. I sleep too much, because I'm trying to keep in mind that, snow plowing is 10 hours at night, 12 hours at night, could go as long as the snowstorm goes. So I'm letting my body get as much sleep as it needs or wants. And, I'm starting to worry that it's actually taking an effect and having an effect on my body.
Yeah, so maybe you should stop taking so much.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's some other things going on there too, but hey, Anderson Henderson, welcome.
Oh God, Anderson's in here. Kramer, leave. No, I'm only joking.
He can be funny at times. I've been over to one or two of his shows, and some of that stuff gets how some of it goes the other way too. But
Yeah, I just don't like being called the C word by the guy.
well, that's not cool. Of course, now wait a minute. Hold it. I before he runs out of here all freaked out. I made that mistake myself. I've done it to Sherrie, and I've apologized profusely. And me and Yukon Jack have still not had words since then, because, well,
No. You said a lot worse to me, but I knew the reason why you did, and I thought it was funny. That's the thing.
And Bobby deleted the stream because I can't even go back and watch it to see how bad I got.
I'm glad he did, because you got pretty nasty there for a while.
Well, I like my boobs.
That's one video that doesn't need to be up for life.
Bobby, you're probably sitting in the room going, "Man, I shouldn't have deleted it."
All right, we got to
keep that over his head.
We got to keep it cool. We got children out here.
All right. All righty, Deidre. We'll see you, dear. Thanks for stopping in.
Oh, it's Deidre. Deidre, hi, yes, honey.
She's in and ran back out.
I like Deidre.
Good.
She's a sweetheart.
Yeah. She runs with a pretty good crowd.
I couldn't see the stream. Now I can see it.
Oh, right. You're still on your phone. Right.
Yeah. Sometimes StreamYard shut me down so that I can't see the comments. I didn't know she was in here until you just said something. Hi, Deidre. I love you, girl.
If they're developing an actual app versus just us attempting to use a computer program in a cell phone that doesn't function correctly, I got a feeling there's something wrong there.
Yeah, they definitely need to develop a better app for us YouTubers. For sure. I mean, because, if we are streaming from our phones, it's hard for us to, see what's in those comments.
Right. Okay. Light and Love has asked. She is getting ready to start the keto diet, and she wants to do it with organic foods and wants to know the best way to start the transition?
Well, basically, to start the transition is just to do it. There is no easy way to go about keto. You just have to start with your organic, grass-fed, grass-finished foods, and that's called clean keto. So if you're going to go clean keto, that's the best way to do it. If you're going to go dirty keto, you can transition and use pot, regular meat and then pot organic meat. But I just found it easier just to transition fully. 100%. I went through my whole house, dumped everything, and started fresh and clean with everything that was organic. But a lot of people can't afford to do that. So
Right.
go slowly.
Well, that's another reason I push the book and push growing your own, because it's amazing what 99 cents in seed pack can produce out of your garden or even out of a flower pot.
You're right. You're absolutely right. You can't beat your own fresh organic garden. But year round we can't do that. So you got to figure out other ways to do it.
Right. Well, that's where canning comes in, and that's where and some of these other ways of storing different things
Right,
come
but
in.
on a keto diet, you really don't want to can because all the salt and all the
Well,
the
that's
nitrates in it
I
is
was
no
going to
good.
ask. That's where I was going to ask next was, with all the canning processes that we currently have, are they safe in the keto world?
No, they're not. They're not. So you don't want to can your own stuff. You want to try to eat fresh, 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 all the time, as much as possible that you can. Yeah, because if you start getting into the nitrates and you start getting into the sodiums and
Right, the
then
different
you got a
ways of
problem.
storing.
Right, you're poisoning your system pretty much.
Well, see, that's where we, when we have gotten away from a lot of these old ways of storing foods, where
And
we
just remember, keto is not only about losing weight; it's also about gaining health. And I'm beyond the kind of the losing weight part. I am more into the maintaining the health part.
Hi, Mystic.
So you lose the weight, and then once you lose the weight, you figure out how to maintain this program to keep your health.
Right.
So keto has a lot of different benefits to it.
Now, see,
Like,
this is where I would step in, and I
we
would
all have a
just
good
remind
protein.
people that, look, your body needs a certain amount of vitamins and minerals, and it's called the mighty 90 when you really look into it. And you're going to get a lot of those from your organic foods, but like you're saying, certain times of year, winter, what have you, you're not able to get those from your foods. And
Right,
that's where I look at supplements. I don't say religiously that you need to be taking supplements on a full-time basis, but when you hit those times a year that you can't get the supplements and you can't get the mighty 90 that your body needs to stay healthy and to feed the DNA chain, to keep the thyroid healthy, to feed the brain, to reinstate the organs and your body regenerates everything your entire lifetime. Whether you're talking about your bones all the way out to your skin, every part
right,
of your body regenerates every 90 days. The body's an incredible organism, but it
right.
needs the mighty 90. If
Well,
you're not getting the vitamins and the
you
minerals that
you
your
also
body
get a
actually
lot of,
needs.
you also get a lot of your vegetables that provide your
Well, right,
vitamins for you.
right. But if you can't get them in the winter, you have a problem.
Right. Well, you
That's
can go to any seafood place and you can get your seaweed for your iodine and
right.
your calcium, and you can get your kelp for that. So there are places, but I mean, if you live in a farm country, you're not going to see a lot of seafood places. So yeah, that's where vital
Right.
nutrients come in. And you're right. You need to take your vitamins.
Well,
Absolutely. You have to sustain every portion of your body.
you got to be careful there too. A big vitamin company has what I shouldn't even call them a vitamin company because they are involved in so many other genetically modified things that they shouldn't be doing vitamins. Okay, I'll just say that. Some of their vitamins have just recently been found to be toxic to the human body. That's just like there's this new weird push for vitamin K, which is not required by the human body in any way, shape, or form. But yet they're all of a sudden starting to push this vitamin K shot. Look out, stay the hell away from it. Vitamin K is not a human thing. Um, but this company got busted, and now they're trying to turn. It's almost like this was planned, where this particular vitamin company put out this toxic set of vitamins, and a lot of people are getting sick, and a few have died taking these vitamin supplements from this company. Hey, Mark Bennett, and I see Shirley's cooking. I'm sorry, has just slipped in. Good morning. Um, so now all of a sudden, here comes the press and here comes the mainstream media screaming vitamins are bad, vitamins are bad, vitamins are bad, because
No, they're
one
not.
company put out a toxic set of vitamins. It's almost like it was deliberate. They can
Vitamins,
afford to go out of business in that vitamin
vitamins are
company.
not bad for you. It's the companies that make them bad.
Right, right. Ultimately, it has been found and it's been proven there's a specific set of 90 minerals and vitamins that our bodies need on a daily basis to continue to produce the way it does. When you live on the NPK system or you live on the chemical system, and a lot of these uh, um, um, uh, statin drugs are specifically designed to stop your body from absorbing certain minerals and certain vitamins and
You're
cause
right.
other problems.
You're right.
So,
I have read intensely on the statins and what they do to the human body and how they neglect other vitamins from going in and the absorption rate, which is terrible. Terrible. People that are on heart medications, every vitamin that they're taking is getting eaten up by the statins that they're taking.
right, and it's wiping out the human body is ultimately what
It
it's
is.
doing.
You're absolutely correct about that.
Light and love. I am very, very sorry to hear that. And if you can get a hold of her and she will listen to you, she needs to get on. And if I can get it to focus as quickly as possible, it's Nason iodine. And she needs to get this under her tongue all day long as much as possible and fix that thyroid condition. It's a hardcore crash on the thyroid because it is exactly what the thyroid needs to feed and stay healthy. I'll bet
Oh,
if you ask her what she has been consuming and what she drinks, I'll put money on it that her diet consists of a lot of pop, diet pop, and power drinks in
yeah.
excess.
If you could get my email address from Ron, I'm not sure if you have his, but
Yes.
if he wants to talk to me, that's good because I don't have a thyroid either. So I could probably help her out with that. And I had Graves' disease for a long time, which caused a tumor in my throat. So yeah, I could talk to her about all that.
Well,
I'm not on any medication for thyroids, and I refuse to be on it. So everything I do is natural.
right. And if you're consuming enough of the right, see, here's the weird thing, and I'll refer to this on a different scale because I have not heard him come directly out and say this. When sports stars like basketball stars, football stars, what have you, have gone in and had surgeries and had discs and what have you removed from their knees and their shoulders and what have you to continue playing and all of that, when they come out of those huge careers, those joints and those what have yous are gone. They've been surgically removed. and now they suffer because they sit down. When they get on the Mighty 90, they've found that they've had to go back in surgically and remove what was surgically implanted in their systems, because the Mighty 90 has used the DNA chain, has followed suit, has used the vitamins, and actually regrew the discs that were destroyed and removed, because there's microscopic levels of them still in the human body that when the DNA is fed correctly, it regrows itself and grows back where it's supposed to. I'm even hearing rumors, and I have not seen proof of this yet. I'm even hearing rumors that a third set of teeth is potential to grow if you're on enough of the Mighty 90, because the DNA chain will regrow where a root canal may not have taken everything out correctly. So the thyroid might fall under the same category. I just don't have any scientific backing to make that statement. It's a theory that if the DNA is fed correctly, if these other joints can grow back, why can't the thyroid?
I don't think it falls under that category.
I don't know. I'm not qualified enough to make that statement. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say, being a person without one for
Hey,
too long, I don't really think.
But are you getting all of the Mighty 90 on a
Yes.
daily basis?
Oh, absolutely. That's one thing I have to make sure of.
See, and that's another thing. A lot of people that go on these diets, they sit back and they go, okay, I'm going to stop consuming this, and I'm just going to go on water, and I'm gonna back off this and back off that, and not do this and not do that, and then I'm going to go into this new diet plan, and they're crashing the human body.
Right. Well,
they're not putting anything in the human body that the human body needs on a daily basis.
Right. Well, ketosis, you have to kind of you have to stay. Your vitamin levels have to stay up, otherwise you're gonna get very sick. And this is where a lot of people are saying that keto really is not good for them. It's because they're not doing it right. You have to take your supplements. You have to take your vitamins every day. You know what I mean? You have to make sure.
Right. You've got to get the Mighty 90 back in your system.
Exactly. Whatever you're losing, you need to replenish.
Right.
In a different way.
And if you're,
a lot of people
your diet,
right? They're exactly doing what you're saying. They're drinking lots of water and they're thinking that they're replacing a lot of stuff, and they're not. Your electrolytes might be good, but the rest of it isn't.
Right. And those of you that are sitting back going, okay, well, where do I get my hands on these Mighty 90? It's in my link. It's on all of my links. I have access to a specific company that sells the Mighty 90. Okay. So yeah, there are places, there are supplement companies that you can trust, that do exist, that are out there. And I'm real hardcore on the Mighty 90. I mean, when mine and understand, mine are all natural anyhow. So when mine supposedly reach their so-called shelf life, which they never do unless you open them, when they reach their shelf life and they go bad, supposedly, I take them directly into my garden and dump them in my garden, because they're never toxic. They're just natural vitamins. There's nothing in there. There's nothing added to make these supplements shelf life store longer. There's no chemical enhancements in any of the vitamins that I take. That's the plus side to the company that I utilize. So when mine supposedly reach their shelf life, and mine supposedly go bad, and mine supposedly, because the date on them or whatever, garbage, that stuff goes directly into my compost, goes directly on my garden, goes directly on my yard, and my yard thrives uncontrollably for multiple reasons. But it's because I feed the food web. I have a better understanding of it. The same Mighty 90 that we need, it does some incredible stuff in a garden. I'm just saying, you could get a whole lot of supplements and sit back and go, well, throw them in the garden. If you doubt them or you question them and you're not sure of them, don't throw them in the trash. Throw them in your garden. Throw them in your compost pile. Just like, you want to compost different things and you want to cut down on the amount of trash you're throwing out. A lot of the things you're going to throw away going on the keto diet, you might want to think about considering throwing that in your compost pile because it's only going to utilize what it actually needs. The soils underneath might suffer because of chemicals.
Exactly.
But the compost pile itself will thrive because it's only going to ingest and take and deliver to that compost exactly what it needs and what it wants.
Right.
And that much more abundant. So hint, old vitamins, don't throw them away.
Right.
They might help your
just don't throw old medications on there, please.
Yeah, not chemicals, vitamins.
Right.
Just like eggs, even though some of these now are genetic, there's still calcium amounts in them. A gentleman had purchased my book last winter and applied it to his garden and had skipped one or two of the steps and had not thought about it. His tomatoes exploded this year. He loved them, and he just they were huge, but they split because he didn't have enough calcium. And that's why I keep telling everybody, keep all your eggshells, all of them. I got a bucket right here from, the remains of, and this is the third bucket, the remains of 78 2 years worth of 2 years worth of eating eggs, 78 dozen eggshells, all of them going into my yard and garden. You have to have calcium out there for certain plants. You have to. So why would you be throwing eggshells away? Come on, guys. Hey, Miss Southern Belle, good morning. And to everybody, make sure I didn't miss anybody. To everybody, Happy New Year's. Let's have a blessed New Year, this one. And let's get through this next 2020 in an incredible way. So any other questions, anybody? Go ahead, toss it out there. Anybody got any other questions or want us to go different coffee grounds? Absolutely. But here's the thing people make the mistake on. They'll go to what's that store? Starbucks, and they'll get free coffee grounds, okay? And they'll take those coffee grounds and they immediately bring them home. And what's the first thing they do? They throw them in the garden. Stop. Don't do that. No. Wash those things out. Put them in an ankle sock. Is that what you ladies call them? The nylons that only come up on your ankles?
Yep.
Get the nylon ankle socks. Dump the coffee grounds in there and run water through them. Tap water's fine. I know it's chemically enhanced and I know it's dangerous, but we're doing something different. Run that through those coffee grounds until those coffee grounds don't run any other color.
Yeah, coffee's very acidic.
Then throw them in a plastic can, damp. Just dump the whole thing in there. Empty them out, or so you can reuse the sock, or even throw the sock in because it's biodegradable in some cases. Throw the whole sock in and let that thing start to mold up, and then throw that in your garden next spring. You want the mold growing on there. It's good for your garden. It's part of what we need in our gardens, more mold in the soil. I know that sounds wrong, but it's not. The NPK process is killing all of that mold. That's what's caused the clayification. We need to go the opposite direction. Coffee grounds, excellent nitrogen builder in your soil. Dump it on your yard. Dump it on your bushes, dump it on your roses, dump it in your garden. Put it everywhere. Coffee grounds are awesome for you. You want nitrogen? And like I tell everybody with their garden, especially those that, aren't quite sold on the Three Sisters system, those that aren't sold on it have never had a true garden because there's clay about a foot down. They don't have a real garden. Okay. So they're going to be against the Three Sisters because this is going to pull it down. That's going to pull it down. This is going to cause a problem. That's going to cause a problem. No. But if you're not sold on the utilizing every inch of your garden, plant of all things, clover in the garden all over the place, and let clover bring the nitrogen in naturally and let it deposit into the garden. So
All right.
plant your, plant
All
your
right. So
miracles, plant your this.
you just answered a coffee question, but why never put your coffee grounds on in the beginning
What do you mean?
without letting it mold?
Oh no, the mold will enhance the soil
No,
condition.
no, no, no. I'm not talking about that. You said this girl used to bring them home from the coffee shop and just dump them in the garden. You said, no, 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 don't ever do that. Why?
Right, because the coffee itself is actually toxic.
Yeah,
And it will
it's
hurt.
acidic, right? Kill
Right,
everything.
right. You know, we ourselves should not drink coffee, but we're addicted to it. It's just one of them things. If you can get off coffee, it's better for you. But you know, going a completely different direction. Um, um, if you take your coffee grounds and you still have not rinsed them out thoroughly, you're asking to cause the acidic problem. You're asking to cause things in your garden to be more acidic. So if you're not going to do that, throw them on your roses, throw them on your blackberries because they're more acidic. It will actually take your soil a slightly different direction. What you want though is flat out, you know, dead center of your so-called acid neutral blah 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 soil conditions. The more neutral, the more number 7 in your soils, which I don't follow. I don't agree in it. I'm sorry. Nature has done things like you're going to see a lot of your blackberries and other berries growing profusely around pine needles because the pine needles cause the acidity and the fruits from these berry trees grow better in an acidic soil. It's kind of a wash both directions, guys. You'll start to understand that. So, you know, when you look at neutral and follow nature, do what nature does. If you want bigger berries and you're looking at your blackberries and your what have yous, maybe go plant a pine tree next to it and you're going to get bigger and better.
Now, how do you get rid of them?
What?
Blackberries and raspberry bushes.
Why would you want to?
If they're overtaking a yard, how would you get rid of them?
Oh, I would go out with cardboard and I would start at the area that you don't want them growing anymore. And I would lay cardboard over that area to suffocate out the roots so that they can't spread.
Okay.
Because you're going to cause a heating condition in the soil that won't toxify or hurt the soil, but you're going to cause a heating condition that's going to drive the roots the other direction.
Okay. Yeah, because I need to get rid of some.
No, don't disturb soils 320, change soil conditions. Every time you open up the soil and you expose it to excess air, excess sunlight, excess water, you actually hurt the entire point of the food web system. You don't want to do that. That's just like a no-till garden. Do not till your garden. The first time around that you're building a garden, there's some reasons to till, but otherwise, no, do not disturb roots. Just like when you harvest in the fall and you get everything abundantly picked and everything good and cut everything off at the top. Do not disturb the root base all winter long. They will dissolve, break down, and compost naturally in the soils. Do not rip the roots out of the soil. No, don't do that.
Yeah, I've been afraid to do that because I have like a ton of them, and I wasn't quite sure about taking the roots out. I heard if you took the roots out, that it's really bad.
Oh yeah, you can actually cause them to go into an overdrive to try and
Yeah,
produce more plants.
yeah, that's what I heard.
So if you go in and you change the soil conditions, you eliminate the sunlight and you eliminate the air by putting cardboard over top of that area. You stop the surface roots from growing because that's a surface root plant, and you
Now,
stop those soil conditions.
Now, once I do that and I suffocate it, can I take the roots out?
You won't need to. They'll break down naturally in the soil.
Okay. All
The
right.
food web will dissolve them naturally.
Okay.
And that's why I say do not disturb your garden either. Don't pull the plants out in the fall. No, 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 no. Leave the roots in the soil. They will break down naturally. And what you want to
Okay.
do is plant the same plant the next year, because the food web that was attached to the old roots that made it so healthy will reattach itself to the new roots from the new plant and continue going. And it'll actually make the roots healthier and stronger and give it a better way to travel to get down into the soil, go as deep as it needs to go to support its own size and its own weight. So don't disturb the soils. Now, yes, you do need to add amendments, but amendments can, quote unquote, I'll push that hard. They can absorb into the soil more so than you need to dig the soils up to put the amendments in. Now, if you
Oh,
go
I
bad soil to
definitely,
begin with, well, we should amend that. And maybe
I
you
definitely
should.
know that one, Gracie. Yeah, eggshells work great on roses. Yes.
Miss Elegant's not doing well. She's out there and she's still holding on, but she's suffering very badly. She's not doing well, Mark. The cancer has stepped in. She's in a toxic environment, and she was better off at home than she is where she's at under a bunch of different reasons, and it's having detrimental effects on her. Stress levels are high, foods are bad, radiation level, everything is against her. Yes, yes. Miss Southern Belle, yes. Just like fish heads, fish tails, scales, what have you. Everything that breaks down naturally and organically is good for your soil. And because coffee is just a natural organic, once you've gotten all of the coffee bled out of it, all of the black liquids, the brown liquids, what have you, drained off of those old coffee leaves, it is absolutely incredible. Everything natural you bring into your house should go directly into your compost and directly into your garden. I don't care what it is, even if it's coming from the grocery store, which I absolutely hate. If you're taking all of those throwaway, discarded pieces from your celeries, from your this, from your carrot skins, your potato skins, your this, that, the other, compost all of that. All of that is incredible for your garden. If you can't, because of city ordinances, if you can't compost, but you still want the compost effects in your garden, I suggest you go dig a 5 gallon bucket size hole as deep as you can go and fill that with all of that organic kitchen garbage scraps, because the food web will naturally reach over there and get in contact with all of that and bring back exactly what it needs for your garden. So you can actually compost in the garden in a hole and get away from the city ordinances, because some people suffer from that. They can't compost because of the smell, because of the city ordinance, blah, 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 blah. Look, dig a hole, a nice size one, like a 5 gallon bucket, and put your kitchen garbage scraps in that hole and cover it back up. And do along in your garden. Go to the four corners first, then go to the center. Anywhere you would naturally be walking, put one of those holes and fill it full of the kitchen scraps. Don't throw them away.
My husband just said you're a smart guy.
He's wrong. I'm an idiot. I'm a soil idiot.
Well, as
And
far as it comes to soil and gardening, I'm not the greatest with that. So it's awesome listening to you.
all right, light and love. We'll see you, dear. And who else? JCT was walking out. We'll see you later, JCT. Oh. The recipe to deal with the eggshells. Um, What 320 is saying is correct. See, I let mine sit. I let mine naturally dry. There are some things in the film in the eggshell that you don't want to be active. In other words, don't take an actual egg from the garden and directly slam that thing into the ground and have an eggshell fight in your garden, what have you, and have the all natural full concentrate of the center of it. You want absolutely 100% dry eggshells, all completely dehydrated. You can bake them, you can sun bake them, you can microwave them. Even it won't hurt them because you're only going after the calcium side of the eggshell. Grind that thing up, get that thing pulped down to almost a powder, and then sprinkle that all over your yard, in your garden. Stick it in holes. Like when you're going to go plant a tomato, and I think I have this in the book. I almost swear that we did a thing in the book about it. But when you dig your hole to put your growing tomato plant in it, you want to fill the hole with certain amendments. One of those many amendments is eggshells, because the tomato skin, believe it or not, actually utilizes the calcium to protect itself from splitting. The more calcium that is available and abundant through the tomato plant, and no, your roots do not bring the calcium back. Something else brings it to the roots, and then the root delivers it to the plant. That's a misunderstanding people have about gardening. Your roots do not feed on anything. There's another organism between the roots and the soil that does all of this for you that you need to maintain. And the NPK process kills that system. So you want to powder as much eggshell as possible and plant that directly underneath your tomato plant, along with a corn stalk. The actual, you eat the corn and you have the, and I'm calling it the wrong thing. It's not the stalk, but it's the corn cob. I'm sorry. Take a corn cob. You want that directly underneath your tomato plant. The roots will envelop it, and what that corn cob does is it turns into a sponge. Not only is it breaking down and supporting the food web, it's also acting like a sponge, and it will hold and deliver water to your tomato plants regardless of the rainfall. That's another problem that everybody seems to suffer from, is their soils don't drain correctly, the water's not held correctly, and then when the rain hits, all the tomatoes the very next day or the day after immediately split because now they have excess water conditions. Well, when you balance the system and you balance the amount of water going in, just like they say, you should only have an inch and a half of rainfall in your yard on a weekly basis for your grass to grow correctly. Well, when the circumstances are correctly, it doesn't matter how much or how little rainfall you get, your grass is going to continue to grow correctly and do exactly what it's supposed to do and be incredible. Your tomatoes will do the same thing. It just needs storage areas for water. The more soil you have, the more topsoil you have, the less you need to think about watering your garden, because the conditions are storing water for you and bring back the water as the plant requests it, not as it's available. Oh, Chris and Shannon's homestead. Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey, that was some interesting stuff. I like that corn cob thing.
Oh, you've never heard that one?
Never heard of it.
Oh my God.
No,
Yeah,
but that was very interesting to hear, though.
you take the things from the book, and I know a lot. Chris and Shannon's new. They've not caught me live. They may have caught a couple of my videos, what have you. But yeah, when you talk about your garden and you talk about how deep the topsoil is, that's all your storage area for water when the conditions are correct. Hey, Bill Milton, and I'll read your comment here in a second. And I apologize if I've missed something. Please retype it. Type any cap so I jump on it real quick. I've got bad eyesight. I made a mistake once. I listened to a doctor and I lost my eyesight. And
Hi,
I
Bill.
never have done that. But the deeper your topsoil is in your garden, and it can be, and I know this is going to shock a couple of people, it can be up to 40 and 50 feet deep. Yes, topsoil can exist in your garden that deep. It doesn't compact when it's kept healthy and off the NPK system. When you follow the Green Wizard's Guide, which is the book that this whole website is about, or this whole YouTube channel is about, the Green Wizard's Guide, when you follow those conditions and the things increase and the things get better the way they should, your water storage capacity increases exponentially per every millimeter.
Hey, Bill had a good question. And I'm kind of curious. What if your ground holds too much water for too long? How do you deal with it if it seems like it never dries out? That's a very good question.
This is where my explanation of the food web is the problem. Okay.
Solid question.
Chris and Shannon, I'll get to that. Your soil and how I'm trying to think of the easiest way to explain this in layman's terms to not over scientific it, because there's no reason to do that.
See, now, I would think, to me, it would be you don't have enough drainage underneath, like the rocks.
Rocks will drain water. They will also store water.
Right.
And that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. The problem is you have so much soil, not topsoil. You have a lack of the food web and the things that feed the food web and keep the food web going and developing. Just like, okay, when we get fog here in Cleveland, Ohio, my yard turns into a vacuum sweeper and the fog dissipates on my street first versus anywhere else. And I've been through it. I've seen it. My street does not get fog on it because of my system in my yard. My yard drinks up every drop of fog that comes by it. I've actually watched it from neighbors' yards, and it looks like it's being vacuumed into my yard, and it stores all of that water. And yet I can walk back out there 2 hours later and cut my grass because the grass is dry. It sucks it in that quickly, and it dissipates it and takes it where it needs to go very quickly. And I have no runoff in my yard. I go check my back wall, and I have a wall between me and my neighbor, and there's no runoff. There's no puddling on that side of the wall. On the lower side, he's below me, and there's no runoff. The food web stores all of that water and puts it out where it needs to go. It will take it out to rocks. It will take it out to areas, because the food web itself requires water to survive. So the more water out there, the more water available. And yes, too much water can drown the food web if there's no food web there to begin with. I know that sounds like a weird statement.
Yeah, but how do you get rid of too much moisture?
The NPK process is our problem. When we've been using all of these store-bought chemicals and chasing the nitrogen, potassium, phosphates, blah, 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 all 12 of everything that's involved, and keep throwing that into our yards and throwing that into our gardens, we're causing that flooding condition because there's no food web available in your grass. Just like I keep warning people, when they take my book, The Green Wizard's Guide, and they follow the instructions, they only do it to their garden and they don't do it to the surrounding property. You're causing yourself a bowl, basically, of topsoil that all the water is going to run into that bowl and everything's going to drown. You have to treat your yard the same way you treat your garden in every aspect, because the food web will reach out over a mile to bring back what it needs, including water, from a mile away to feed your garden and to feed all of your plants and to feed your grass. As you increase the abundance, and this is where I'm answering the question, as you increase the abundance of the food web throughout your entire yard, the soil turns to topsoil and becomes abundantly rich. The clay then turns into soil and again into topsoil, and it will increase in exponentially straight down, left, right, what have you. The food web will stretch out, expanding your soil, lifting your soil up. It will bring in more worms. It will bring in all sorts of things will happen. Worms are your drain off point. If you're lacking worms around your garden, but you got worms in your garden, yep, you've got a condition that's going to cause you to have all of that water stand still. As you increase the conditions. Now, if you want to accelerate things, use Epsom salt. Go outside your garden with a very thin layer, a hand tossed layer, that means that thin, a hand tossed layer of Epsom salt. It has minerals in it that break up the clay, that start loosening those soils up and allow the food web to start reaching into those areas and expanding those areas. That's the whole point. You've got to understand that your garden has to be treated exactly as the same as your yard, especially directly around it, so that you don't have these puddling conditions. The food web will continue to grow deeper and deeper and deeper into your yard and into your garden, especially as you keep feeding it correctly. And all of the instructions, every little bit of that is in the Green Wizard's Guide. A friend of ours, Jerry, and I won't, because he's not here, I won't use his channel name. He put the system into use. He's dealing with a flooding situation in his state where every time it rains, half a quarter of an inch of rain, it's flooding his house. Well, they went and they put this into use, and they used my system without my knowledge, and they applied it to their yard. And the next thing you know, in 2 weeks' time, they get a quarter of an inch of rain. They actually had half an inch of rainfall, and they didn't have any flooding conditions throughout their yard because they followed the steps in the book. The soil conditions will allow the water to go everywhere it needs to go. Flooding doesn't need to happen. The problem is the amount of chemicals that have been sprayed on us and the amount of chemicals that we have unfortunately been misled to believe this is the way, the NPK process, the chemical process is the way to treat your yard and your garden. It's false, it's false, it's false. I'm sorry, it's proven it. We have so many sick people on the planet because of this NPK system. We've got to get away from it. The people are healthier in the Amazon forest that don't follow the NPK process than those of us outside of it growing on the NPK process. I wonder why. We have to get off the NPK process, and we've got to get back to nature. We've got to go back to what the Indians tried to tell the settlers. We have to get off the chemical process that we've been pushing since the 50s. We've got to go a different direction. All of the instructions are in the guide. Now, if you want to get your hands on the guide, I link it on all of my videos. You purchase the guide directly from me. All of the information is on the webpage. It's greenwizardsguide.com. No S, greenwizardsguide.com. And if any of my mods have the link for their webpage, just go ahead and pop it up. That's where you purchase a signed copy from me directly, and I'll get it out to you. But yeah, the flooding conditions do not need to be happening. The excess that people have, I know some gardeners over in England that, they've put trenches in, they put French drains in, they've trenched their yard to run the water away from their garden and what have you. And they've not done anything for the soils around the garden, and they still have this flooding condition. And I keep trying to tell them, please reread the book. You interviewed me about the book. We discussed the book, but you didn't understand. You've got to treat your entire yard like you treat your garden, because the food web will take care of all of those flooding conditions and store the water correctly. The more water it has, the deeper it can go into your soils. And it doesn't matter whether you've got rock soil, sand soil, what have you, it will store water as the NPK or as the food web process requires it. So yes, you can have desert circumstances and still be growing a complete garden. They're doing it in Egypt. They're adding just enough on certain levels of soil and clay mix with the sand and storing all of the water that they can get in the desert. And they're growing huge, abundant acre after acre of plants under these conditions because they're feeding the food web and bringing this to life. Now you're going to sit back and go, okay, but what's the food web and what It's the microscopic level between your plant's roots, whether it be trees, grass, tomatoes, onions, carrots, potatoes, berry bushes, roses. It is a microscopic world that exists on your plant roots between it and your soil. And it can reach out a mile and more to bring back everything that that plant is requesting. And what does it do in exchange? The plant feeds the food web a little bit of sugar, and that's what the food web survives on: water, air, and sugar. Now, of course, you've got to be careful. There's certain types of sugars you can't use. All of that's explained in the guide. You can treat your yard and watch as this stuff just happens and explodes. Right now in, I want to say it's North Carolina. I might even be stating the wrong. It may be Virginia, West Virginia. I don't know. Um, we were in a live stream the other night, and we were discussing parts of the book. Me and another admin for the channel, and we were discussing this stuff. And um, she went out and she looked out her window and she says, "Oh my God, my neighbor's yards are brown and mine is thriving green because I used your system." Right, right. The food web is keeping the plants alive. It's bringing back what the plants need, even though it's cold. And that's another thing that I try to warn people about in their gardens. Please, please, please make sure you blanket your garden. No exposed soil ever. You don't want to see it, and you don't want sunlight to see it. So cover it in your grass clippings, cover it in your leaves, cover it in this, that, and the other. Get it out there. Get those soils covered. Get them fed, get them mineralized, and cover them up. And watch what happens in your yard. It's incredible. Nature does it naturally. Nature, and if you're just following the guide, you're following nature's steps because it's your understanding. I'm not teaching anything. I'm giving you back nature's understanding. That's what the guide is. It's giving you information, it's giving you resources that we have forgotten. And when you add these little things and you put them in there, oh my God, do you grow in abundance? I started with 10 tomato plants when my next door neighbor Ray got me into this. And I started with my father's process. I duplicated what I remembered him doing as a child. And my grandfather had done it, and so on, all the way back. Everything went into the garden. And that first year, I had a incredible bumper crop from 10 tomato plants. It was awesome. I now only grow 3 plants, and I get more than I got from those 10 tomato plants. I get 600 pounds of tomatoes from one plant, over 19 feet tall. You can do the same thing. Everybody can. It doesn't matter where you live. Everybody can. You just have to have the understanding. And that's all I'm doing with the book, is bringing back the understanding and giving you all the scientific data and all the resources to duplicate exactly what I've done. And I've been doing it for years. I used to be the weed king. Now, now I'm the green wizard. And that's just my neighbors talking. Ugh. Now, please don't misunderstand. Like when we talk about gardens, and I know I haven't done this, and we're struggling. If I'd have sold the books, I'd have Elegant Homesteads property already, and I'd be down there working on it right now. When we're talking about homesteaders that are building small gardens to sustain their homes, and we're talking about people in their yards, in city limits, building gardens and what have you, you have to think on other levels. You have to think about your city ordinances, and you got to think about this, and you got to think about that, and don't expect to be able to instantly go out there and you use your shovel and you barely dig through this rock hard soil and you're immediately going to be fixing the situation. It takes time. Mother Nature takes time. Everything takes time. You can build conditions that are going to enhance all of that. Just like never build a raised bed garden with wood, and especially treated lumber. Oh my God, you're just adding to the chemical problem that we already have in the soils. Use cinder blocks. And the reason I suggest cinder blocks is because not only can you take them down very easily because you didn't cement them into place, they're water storage facilities. As the rain comes in or as you water the soil, never water the plant, water the soil. Those cinder blocks, once the food web comes in contact with it, and what the food web will do is almost act like it's consuming the cinder block. It will get in there, it will penetrate into the cinder block, and it will cause the cinder block to retain moisture longer and deliver it back to the plants as they request it and as they need it, not as you water. And that's the problem that a lot of gardeners have with their tomato plants is they are getting the water as it rains or as they water, and the tomato is immediately absorbing that, immediately putting it out to the tomato, and the tomato splits. Well, there's not enough calcium, number one, because that would have happened naturally and it would have stopped it. It would have strengthened the skin or the heart of the tomato, as gardeners call it, and stop that situation from happening. And you wouldn't have had end rot. You wouldn't have had tomato split. There's not enough calcium in the soil. As you add and increase these conditions, these things naturally take care of themselves and things go the other way. Hey, Prepper Insight, welcome. So don't be using lumber. Don't use tires. Okay, now there's some fun things you can do with tire gardening. Don't misunderstand. But there's chemicals and oils in the tires that get released into the soil that can cause problems. Okay. Don't build a tire surrounded garden. It's not going to hold water like a cinder block would. Don't use lumber because it breaks down. Don't use treated lumber because it releases chemicals. These are all the things you don't want to do. Cinder blocks. It's the cheapest way to go. And what's really neat about it is you can either build the wall, to a certain height and let the soils expand. Don't bring in soils. You're bringing in unknown problems. Don't bring in potting soil. You're bringing in unknown problems. If you're going to bring in potting soil, throw it in your compost pile and let it sit for a year. Okay, don't add problems, but get out there and in prepper words, prep these soil conditions, and the soil will expand into the blocks. Believe it or not, as the worms go in and naturally rototill, they increase the soil conditions because they're adding air pockets as they come and go, and as they chase this, that, or the other. They're chasing food web. And that's why you need to feed the food web. The more food web you have, the more worms you have, the better your drainage is. The roots can travel where the worms have gone because they're doing this and they're doing it. There's all these interesting conditions that take place, all of them explained in the Green Wizard's Guide. And this is why, I look at the preppers and I go, look, hey, you need to, think about your seeds, but you also need to think about where you're going when you're going to bug out and what are the conditions there. If you've got the area selected and you're not in a food web condition and you're running off to disappear, and where you're going is more clay than soil, I don't care what seeds you take with you. I don't care how great they are. And we have a channel here that's been talking about releasing some seeds that have not been seen in a long time. They're heritage. They've been growing for 15 years naturally. There's, they do not replant these tomatoes. That is offered to start delivering seeds to us. Going to be huge yellow tom tomatoes. But I'm waiting for the conditions to be right to tell you guys where to get those seeds and where to order them from and who to order them from, because it's one of us that's here on the channel. But I got to make sure that all the conditions are right. I got to make sure that they're ready to do what they need to do to sell you guys those seeds. Regardless, the soils need to be prepped. The soils need to be healthy. They're continually spraying for global warming and reflecting the sunlight, and the chemicals are falling because of gravity. They don't stay up there suspended magically because Congress said so. Sorry, that's not how that works. Gravity has an effect. You need to prep these areas with an understanding. You know, you want to do the gray man process and you want to chase it a certain way, but you need to understand nature's way. If you utilize nature's way and you apply that to those bug out areas, you're going to have abundant soils in those areas so that when and if those circumstances happen and you do need to get there, those soils are ready to receive the seeds that you want to be planting. Just like I warn everybody, you know, when you want to get into those kind of situations and you want to pre-prep an area, get out there and plant your sunflowers so that you can prepare those soil conditions to have them non-toxic, to have all of the heavy metals removed from those soils before you try growing anything. And then, and then of all things, plant garlic in the area and let it run wild. I don't care how many years. Get it up there, plant it, and forget it. Garlic is extremely healthy for the human condition. It's got so many antioxidants in it. It's got so many this, that, the other. It's got all these benefits. Grow it wild. Grow it everywhere in your yard. You want to keep fleas, ticks, and bugs out of your house and out of your plant, your animals and your pets. Plant garlic near your doors and your windows. Let it run wild. There's something that happens in the soil, and I don't know which chemical it releases, but it's only the garlic plant that seems to be doing it. Peppermint does it to a point, but garlic seems to do it better. And you will have an area 30 feet away from the garlic plants growing wild that is uh, flea and tick free just because you're growing garlic naturally. And you treat it like a hosta plant. Once it turns brown, cut it down. Don't worry about it and leave it in the soil, and more will grow next year. It's just one of those kind of plants. It repeats itself year after year after year. It clones itself in those conditions. Garlic is our friend. Sunflowers are our friend. Prep the areas ahead of time and stay safe and stay healthy. Get your hands on the book. Green Wizard's Guide's got a whole lot of information buried in very minimal pages because we don't need all the scientific gobbledygook. It's very simple information we've forgotten. Yes, what you're asking, Chris and Shannon, I'm aware of, and that's why I say as years go by, as time goes by, make sure you're not using tap water to water your garden. If you have to use tap water because you have no other choice and no other source of water, let that tap water sit in a bucket in the sunlight for 24 hours. Then cool it off and then use that to water your garden because you want all of the chlorines and all of the chemicals out of that water as much as possible. As it sits in sunlight, certain things are going to die in it. As this happens, as that happens, as the other happens, things are going to dissipate in that water. It's going to naturally evaporate, naturally aspirate a lot of these chemicals off that are bad for us. That's why tap water is terrible for us. There's stuff added supposedly to protect the plumbing coming to your house. Yeah, right. That's why fluoride's in there. Yeah. No, that causes brain diseases. It's proven. Fluoride's bad for you. That's why they're putting it in the flu shot this year. Hint, hint, hint. Yeah, I got a copy of the list. It's really bad. Anyhow, if you want to clean your soils every year or once a year or every other year, grow sunflowers. Sunflowers have a natural way of going in and pulling out heavy metals and pulling out chemicals and neutralizing them. Do not utilize the seeds. Don't eat them like they're candy. Don't keep the plant around. Throw it away. Don't put it in your compost pile. Throw it away. Send it to the trash heap, whatever. Let them deal with it. Maybe they'll burn it off, whatever. It neutralizes the chemicals that are in the soils. It pulls them out. It changes them into something else, holds them in stock, holds them in the seeds. They become non toxic and dangerous, but you still don't want them around. Sunflowers, of all things, is one of the biggest neutralizers and soil cleaners and soil detoxifiers possible. Grow sunflowers. KC, I think I know who you are. And yes, it does make a difference, doesn't it? Tap water is terrible. If you're the KC I think you are, I saw your sunflowers. I felt so bad for them this year. But you've got great soil in those containers because it's now detoxified. I don't know if you saw my sunflowers growing this year, and those were by mistake. I didn't plant them. They just all of a sudden appeared in my yard. And oh my God. Did they take off fast? So yeah, all right. I think I'm about done. Unless somebody else has got some questions I've missed, please capitalize them and put them in. Um, I've been here 2 hours running my mouth. I'm sorry. I know for some of you, actually, I feel the worst for 320 Homestead. She's been here the longest, and I have just continued to rant, 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 rant. And the whole point of the entire thing and reason for coming on today was to ask you, how's your soil grow? How's your garden grow? Because it's your understanding of your garden that makes your soil abundant, makes your soil into topsoil, that takes your clay and turns it to soil that can then become topsoil. If you look at the ingredients of topsoil versus soil, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And the food web has 99.9% to do with the difference between soil and topsoil. When you have the understanding, anything is possible. It's incredible what your yard can produce. Fewer plants, better harvests. It's incredible. Now, that doesn't mean I couldn't still plant 10 tomato plants in my yard and get them all 19 feet long and more and still be getting 600 pounds per tomato plant. Per tomato plant on all 10 plants because the soil conditions are that abundant, that rich, and that good. But what am I going to do with that many tomatoes when I don't eat tomatoes? I know I could give them to my neighbors, but they've even gotten to the point they don't want any more tomatoes. So, yeah, how does your garden grow? Is your understanding there? Uh, Going back. Yes, yes. Alfalfa hay is the best, Mark Bennett. Alfalfa hay. The thicker, the better, especially in the snow areas. Those areas that don't see it, you don't need it as thick. Now, I know my neighbor will tell you that, yeah, he didn't use a whole lot of hay in his yard this year for his garlic, but his garlic's growing like crazy and it looks incredible. Well, yeah, because the food web is thriving and it's very, very deep, and my soil is going to stay a whole lot warmer than my neighbor's this year because it's that healthy, it's that good, it's doing that well. Alfalfa, and I'll leave on this note, okay? I'm going to shut the video down. So those of you that want to bail, I get it. I understand. I appreciate you all coming. Hit that button, ring that bell, do that blah, 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 gobbledygook, what have you. If you want my book, it's on my videos. If you want the vitamins and you want access to them, it's on my videos. Alfalfa is nature's steroid. Okay. It is nature's natural steroid for both plants and animals. Okay. Alfalfa added to your soil, added to your grass, added to your garden, given to your animals is a natural steroid. Well, what happens when you put an animal on a steroid? Not a chemical steroid, but a steroid. It's healthier, it's stronger, it's better bone mass, it does blah, blah, blah. It's a steroid. You should see grass on steroids. It's incredible. And that's what alfalfa does. So get your hands on alfalfa hay to put your gardens and your flower beds to rest this winter. And use alfalfa pellets, the same ones you would feed your animals, to feed your garden and to feed your grass. And put everything on steroids. Now, I'm not saying avoid the amendments. No, we need the mighty 90. There are things we need. Everybody, every human, every mammal on the planet, all 5,700 mammals on the planet need the mighty 90 minerals and vitamins. Our plants can naturally deliver them to us directly from our gardens. And they deliver a lot, but you're going to have to grow a lot. And that's a big garden. Okay. And of course, we're dealing with rodents. And of course, we're dealing with deer. And I mean, these are other circumstances that all come into play here. The better your soil conditions, the more amending you do, the greater these plants can be for you. To believe that the 1950s study of spinach, I'll end there. Okay. All right, Mark, we'll see you, buddy. Oh, I am so sorry, Chris. There's a lot I can teach you. A lot I can teach you. Get my book. It'll blow your mind. Uh, and if you have questions anytime, the green wizard at hotmail.com. I can probably give you an answer or do a video to answer your question, but the FDA did a study back in the 50s and they came out with what they say is your daily minimum allowance. They have not done the study since because they don't want you to know because of the soil conditions we are currently dealing with. You need a cup of spinach to receive the amount of iron that you need on a daily basis. There are other vegetables that can deliver the iron, but in this study, they basically sat down and said you need a cup of spinach to get the daily recommended allowed blah, blah, blah for your diet on a daily basis. If that study was done now, today, and I know 10 years ago I said it completely different, it would take 15 cups of spinach to get the same amount of iron out of the spinach to meet your daily requirement. That's what the NPK process has done to the world. Not just America, not just your garden, not just your yard, the world, because everyone has been following the NPK process. Look how many people are going to the hospital. Look how many people are sick. Look how many doctors we all of a sudden need around the planet. We didn't need that 200 years ago. Well, thank you, Mark, or thank you, Prepper. And yes, I have the intentions of putting out another book on building a garden specifically. But to get back to what I was just saying before I end here, if you want improved soil conditions, follow the Green Wizard's Guide. Tell all of your friends to follow the Green Wizard's Guide. Every prepper, every homesteader, every gardener, anyone who even takes care of their yard. Look, it's going to save you money, a lot of money. I went out and did the price comparison this year. I've got 3 years worth of supplies for $150. To get exactly the same supplies for this year only would have cost me $250, and that's 1 year's supply. What I spent $150 on is 3 years supply of stuff for my yard. That's the comparative financial difference that just this understanding from the Green Wizard's Guide is going to put back in your pocket. It's amazing. It's amazing. Mother Nature is cheaper and better for your yard than the NPK process of chemicals. It's amazing. So if you want that 1 cup of spinach to get the daily recommended amount of iron in your diet, follow the Green Wizard's Guide. Do it nature's way. Go back prior to 1950, before the research study was done. Fix the soil conditions in your yard, and the yard will take care of you in ways you will not believe. It's incredible. You walk in my yard, it's like walking on a blanket. It's so soft. It's like walking on pillows. You walk in my neighbor's yard, not 5 feet away, over a cement driveway that doesn't treat their yard and doesn't take care of it and uses the NPK process. It's like walking on bricks. It's like walking on rocks. I can't believe grass even attempts to grow there. And in some cases, it doesn't. It's bad. Very bad. It rains, they flood, I get all the water. and my yard doesn't turn brown all winter long. It's awesome. It doesn't turn brown when it gets hot in the summer. It's awesome. Everything takes care of itself when you do it nature's way. We have to get off the NPK process. The Green Wizard's Guide is the simplest way to go, with all the information, all the research, and every bit of instruction that you possibly need. I hold nothing back in those simple few pages. So if you want to save your diet and not have to eat 15 cups of spinach every day to get the iron your body needs, plant some spinach on the Green Wizard's Guide system, nature's system, and get back to that 1 cup of iron you actually need. Alrighty, everybody. I appreciate you all stopping in. I appreciate you hanging out. Sherrie K, I appreciate you being up on panel to help us out. There are many supporting streams just like this that follow blank pages in my book. Prepper and Chris, you're both looking at getting the book. There are blank pages in my book. Yes. Yes. Because a lot of people need to take notes and take notes when they're gardening and when they're taking care of things, and they need someplace to take those notes. We've added blank pages into the book so that you can add those notes. Well, in some cases, some information got missed in the book. We couldn't get it in fast enough. And I know I spent a lot of years doing this, but there's strategy to this. The Green Wizard's Guide, this particular channel has videos in it that fill those blank pages. There's an all-natural weed killer to treat the weeds in your yard naturally. Weeds are not your enemy, but if you've got weeds you want to deal with, that's not in the guide. I've done the video to give you the exact recipe and told you exactly what page it's on that you can fill it in because it's a blank page. So the website, this channel, and the book actually work together. And you can add information into the Green Wizard's Guide book on the blank pages, and you can add your own notes. So again, I appreciate you all stopping in. Y'all have a great day. You know where to find me. I'm out there somewhere around the web. Appreciate y'all stopping by, everybody. Have a great day. And again, have a blessed new year.